Okay, greetings and salutations to everybody out there. Thank you for joining us once again. My name is JV Wins. That, of course, is Dogon S. As we are back for another edition to the Constant Approach channel on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined and have not already done so. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let us know. Let us know rather what you think about the commentary in these videos. We certainly appreciate it as we continue to pump out this logical content each and every week. We certainly appreciate everybody who's joined us along for the ride, and join the tribe. We certainly thank you for the support as we continue in our race to 1,000 subscribers. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. Uh, so, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get things kicked off this week. The first thing that we are going to talk about is interesting comments made by rap veteran Jeezy. Jeezy is currently promoting a new book. So Jeezy is now author. He can add author to his lengthy list of career credentials. And he is promoting his book. And one of the stops that he has gone on recently on his book promotional tour is a stop at Nick Cannon's Daily Cannon podcast. And one of the interesting things that we picked up from this podcast is Jeezy talking about how, when word got out that he was someone who was a part of the ownership group of a upscale steakhouse in Atlanta, Georgia, that things kind of took a turn for the worse. Now, eventually, the restaurant ended up closing, but Jeezy, during this appearance on Nick Cannon's podcast, lamented on how once it became public knowledge that it was Jeezy who was involved with this restaurant, the clientele and the overall quality of the clientele of the restaurant started to decline. I think we can surmise from his comments, but don't let me speak for Jeezy. I will allow Jeezy to speak for himself. So again, all relevant links that we mention on this stream will, of course, appear in the description of this video, so you can check those out when you get a chance. But this was a piece of media or content rather that was picked up across multiple publications. I happened to catch wind of it here on Afrotech, and so this says Jeezy explains how things went left after word got out that he owned one of the nicest steakhouses in Atlanta. Sometimes things may be better left unsaid. While promoting his book, Adversity for Sale, You Gotta Believe, in an interview on the Daily Cannon Morning Show, Jeezy recalled the aftermath of going public about one of his previous ventures that he once kept private. The rapper and businessman used to own a high-end steakhouse, American Cut, in Atlanta, Georgia. So the article goes on to quote the conversation between Jeezy and Nick Cannon, but I'll just go ahead and play this video snippet, and we'll allow Jeezy to speak on it himself. And then, of course, we will give our thoughts on what he had to say after the clip has ended.
Yeah.
Snowman.
Then everybody's now calling you for the hookup,
Right?
and you can't operate a business on a hookup.
Not even that. Not even
Toys
that.
R Us hookup.
I had a high-end steakhouse in Atlanta in the shops of Buckhead.
Yeah.
Called American Cut, and probably one of the nicest steakhouses there. 3 stories, beautiful. And it was like my best kept secret. I remember Nas was on tour. He stopped by. He was like, "Yo, you own this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "It's crazy." So we sitting there, but it's all classy.
Right.
Man, the minute I went on radio one day and it was like, "Yeah, you know, I own this American Cut," I went back there. You would have thought it was Freaknik.
They was in there.
The whole thing it started going down. You going in there to eat, you see a cat you used to hustle with. I'm like, oh my God.
Hey, Jesus said I could be up there.
Right.
Goddamn, bring one of them goddamn steaks.
Hey, you know, they upstairs, they try to smoke weed. I'm like, oh, man, you can't. Like, what we doing?
That is hilarious.
Yeah, you know why it costs? Man, you ordered the Wagyu, baby. Yeah. What we gonna do?
They Instagram Jeezy. Why this steak cost so goddamn much?
All the things well done.
But I mean, again, it's elevation, man.
Yeah,
and even when it comes to business. So,
Oh man, that's crazy.
All right, yeah. So unfortunately for Jeezy, once word got out that he was a part of that, it took a turn for the worse. For context purposes, American Cut in Atlanta was located in Buckhead, and it was in business for 5 years before closing on February 28th, 2022. So it has been closed for approaching a year and a half at this point, and it was around for 5 years. And he attributes the closing at least to the clientele of the restaurant kind of taking a different turn once it became public that he owned it. So I thought that this was pretty interesting stuff here. We, of course, on this channel champion black-owned businesses, and
Absolutely.
this would qualify as such. And so, a bit disappointing to learn that it's a bit disappointing to hear Jeezy speak on it in that manner. But what did you think about those comments?
Uh, it's unfortunate that he had to keep it hidden in the first place. Because the way I kind of took it all, at least my first ear, I can be a little ignorant at times. But my first ear, when I first heard this, I was like, once I told those Negroes where my establishment was, they came in there and started just messing up the place, driving down the value of my luxurious property. And, I'm like, damn, Jeezy, for the snowman, the man of the streets, the voice of the people, the voice of the streets, for this guy to sit here and turn his back on the streets and feels like he should have kept it hidden from the streets, it's not really street to me. So that was my first thought. But then, cooler heads prevailed. And you damn right I wouldn't tell those people where the hell my establishment was. And the reason being is, well, it drove it down. He was doing something else there. Now, if he wanted a wing spot, they could have ran that up, like a little wing stop or whatever, But a high-end, high-scale type of thing, hey man, that's a certain type of clientele. And not just, it's not, mind you, this is Atlanta, so it's not like white people. There's white people there, but it's high-end black people too, and they don't want to be around the foolishness either.
Mm-hmm.
So you're chasing away a certain class of income when you start bringing all of this shenanigans around, with the loud cars in the parking lot and the TikTok videos. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it got a little messy in there. But hey man, this is just what it is, dude. I really can't slice this any other way. I don't know. I'm not either up or down on this. I just think that this is just what it is. But for Jeezy, I think the only stance that I do have is that, I know he said it kind of tongue in cheek or whatever, but if I was like a certified street dude and I always held Jeezy up to a certain esteem, for always vouching for me and speaking for me, I feel like this is a little backstabby, I don't think I don't know. I would have came at this another way. But how about you, bro? How do you feel about this entire situation, man? Do you agree with Sir Jeezy here? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, the streets lowered the value of his high-end restaurant?
I think Jeezy has low-key tried to shed that moniker of himself.
Streets, man.
Yeah, I think so. Quietly, though, because if he does it loudly, he'll be perceived as turning his back on too many people. So I think that over the years he has quietly tried to do that. And I'm not necessarily criticizing him for it. I'm just kind of basing that off of my observation. If you look at who he ended up getting married to and various other things that he tried to venture into with his career, the fact that he has long since stopped being particularly active with his music, I think he has purposefully tried to, sort of sidestep his way out of being synonymous with the streets the way it was when he was Snowman 17.5. When I first like when this article, when this news or this content first came across my way, when I read the headline, my first reaction was, I'm about to click on this and read about how white America decided to not support his business once they discovered that it was owned by him. That's what I thought that I was going to read. But then I get into there and I read the clip. I read the article and I watch the clip, and he's saying no. Once he said that is actually the opposite. He was saying once it went public that he was involved, then his constituency started coming out, and that's what ended up driving the place into the ground. And you have to be very tricky with this kind of stuff when you are trying to appeal to a more widespread customer base. I'll say that, because this is a hole that Jeezy kind of dug for himself.
Yeah.
Not that it's his own fault, but it is what it is. Like TM 101, 102, 103, he was the streets.
Yeah.
I low key credit him as somewhat the inventor of trap rap, or just the sound of trap rap in and of itself. And there's other rappers who have tried to lay claim to that, like T.I. T.I. claims that he's the originator of it. I don't recall hearing a sound like Jeezy sound before Jeezy did it. I don't recall that. But I've heard sounds similar to T.I.'s sound before T.I. came onto the scene like that. I think Jeezy.
No, I was gonna say, like, and just this real quick, because the whole T.I. thing is, because he was talking about trapping, but as you mentioned, Jeezy was doing it different. It was literally every bar was about cocaine and how it's getting flipped, and people weren't doing it like that.
Right.
So,
But
go on.
Not on that level. And when you match the sound with the way he was doing it, every song, every bar, I don't think that anything was going on like that before Jeezy. I just don't. I don't recall that. With the beats and everything, it was different when he to me, he originated it. So at that point, you're so deeply entrenched in it from an identity standpoint, and you've done it. You basically did it for over a decade before you decided to kind of step away from the music industry and focus on other things. This type of stuff is going to come along with the territory. And it's one of the difficulties that Black and brown people have with some of these niche avenues with which they choose to come up in, music and entertainment, even sports and athletics, is once you've identified with that so heavily and you decide to do different things, people don't want to allow you the opportunity to expand and grow, unfortunately. And we tend in our community to somewhat have a crab in a bucket, lack of appreciation approach to certain things. And instead of trying to support Jeezy in such a way that his restaurant can continue to appeal to everybody despite what his beginnings are, you get this typical result, which is his audience basically driving the value of the organization down. And I would not have faulted him if he had opted to continue to keep it a secret, just for strategic purposes, kind of being able to project that something like that would happen had he not done so. And this is something that's unique unto an individual such as Jeezy, because there's other Black-owned restaurants of notoriety in Atlanta that didn't suffer the same fate. And even ones that did close down lasted for far longer. Like I said at the opening of the video, Jeezy, this restaurant lasted for 5 years, but Puff's Justin's restaurant in the same city, Atlanta, lasted for 14 years, I think, before it eventually closed up. So you get a 14-year run out of that. That to me speaks to the value and the clientele of the establishment, allowing the place to, prosper for as long as it did. before, 14 years, inevitably they ended up calling it quits. And this American cut in Buckhead didn't get nearly as long a leash. And that's specifically intrinsically tied to Jeezy's constituency, in my opinion. So, it just kind of speaks to how delicately you have to move when you decide to be, when you are someone who is in Jeezy's position and you decide to venture outward and do things differently. And for the record, I'm vaguely familiar with Buckhead. I don't have, I've been there a few times. I spent an entire Christmas in Buckhead. Like you said, established Black people live in Buckhead. It's not one of these, like, you don't think, most affluent neighborhoods in America you think of as majority white in terms of, the people who reside there, or at the very least, majority non-Black. But Buckhead is not really like that. It's kind of a mixed bag. There's prominent Black people with money who live there, as well as prominent non-Black people with money who live there as well. So it ain't like the streets is all up and through Buckhead. It's a well-established, historically long-standing, affluent part of Atlanta. And so for this neighborhood, for this restaurant to have been located there and to have been driven down as a result of the public knowledge that Jeezy is aware, speaks to the impact that Jeezy had on his listenership, and the lengths that listenership was willing to go to in order to, in their minds, patronize what Jeezy was doing. But clearly that patronization resulted in the opposite of the business being able to prosper into the future. And it's unfortunate, but I just think it's a cautionary tale of what you should do if you are someone who is in Jeezy's position and you decide that you want to venture out. You got to be more strategic, because when you get to a point where you're that big, those individuals can no longer speak for you, or else, have your business be sacrificed at the altar of the streets. And that's what happened to Jeezy.
Mm-hmm. And now that I think about what he said, now I'm not putting words in his mouth, all right, but one could assume he's blaming his constituents for driving down the value of his establishment.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds. Yeah. That's what it sounds like from what we're hearing.
Right.
All right. Now that's we just established that. Now that we've established that, my thing is, now that I think about what he said, he's blaming that he shouldn't have said anything because his constituents would show up. This is why this don't go for me.
Right.
He's blaming them, but what he said was that it's like Freaknik in there on a radio show. Now, it's a difference now. If he just came out and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, that American cut that's around here 5-starring it up. Oh yeah, I got a little piece of that." People would have been like, "Oh snap! All right, Jeezy, you doing it 5-star? I'm coming to a little classy." But he said it's like Freaknik in the kitchen, and I don't want no BBL clapping ass around my medium rare sirloin. So I'm not going to your establishment if that's the kind of crowd that's going to be there. So it's not so much that he told his people, it's how he told his people. And because I'm sure people that are in his constituency would actually sit there and behave themselves if they felt like this is what I should do in here. But the way that he made it seem like it's the streets in here, but it's 5 stars, upscale street. So let me come in there with my linen suit. And so it's like, nah, man. And y'all driving down the value. So I don't so much, and this is why I don't jive for me, is because it's like he's low key, if we take it there, that he's blaming the people more than blaming himself for how he presented it. And I can understand him trying to keep it under wraps because there's certain endeavors for branding's sake. You want a brand that's outside of your typecasting. So in order for it to have that mystique that you want, you don't want nobody to know who's behind it. So I totally get that. But at the same time, if you already knew this was an upscale place, why the hell would you make that statement about your kitchen? So I say Jeezy was in the wrong for how he presented this. And so, no, you could have told your people. You shouldn't have told them like that and not in those words. And it's another thing that, like right before you got to it, Nick Cannon was talking about some, oh yeah, you know, people always want to deal. Everybody in our community want to deal, blah, blah, blah. If you run in the business, you can't cut a deal. Everybody in every other community cut their people deals. We're the only people that's not trying to cut people deals. You tax everybody else. They tax my ass, that's for damn sure. But they cut their homeboys a deal whenever they're putting in a new AC unit. So why can't we do that for our people? See, there's a difference. The person that's installing the AC unit does a good job, so he can actually charge your ass. And then he's making so much money because he's always overcharging other communities. He can give his people a cut. You know, that's what everybody else does, by the way. So why aren't people from other communities just buying your stuff because it's that fire? I've been to black restaurants where white people are in there going crazy. I've been to black establishments or black places, and you know, white people in there going crazy, patronizing the place because the food is quality. So if you got quality stuff, anybody will come to your business and give you money. So if that's the case, have high quality stuff, stop trying to cut corners, and then you can actually charge people a nice little price. And then when it comes time to breaking your people off and helping your people out, you know, like the Hispanic community in Miami, and they just down there installing stuff in people's backyard because this guy knows this and he's only charging him that for it. But if I ask him to do the same driveway thing, he's gonna tax my ass. It's the same thing. So that little thing that Nick Cannon said, I just wanted to dispel that. I don't like that talk. I really feel like that needs to be evaluated. There's some talking points in our community that's just, all right, yeah, just, yep, that's the thing, and keep going. Like, yeah, I don't know who gave us all of these seeds, but there's a lot of fallacies that's in our book of being black in America, and I don't like that one. But to tie it all back in, Sir Jeezy, I blame your you need a publicist. How about that?
Yeah, I didn't take that. Like when I read it, what I took from what he said was I kept it low key, but once I said that I was involved, it started to turn into Freaknik whenever you walked in. That's what I thought he was saying. That's what I thought he was saying. So I felt like he was bringing up the Freaknik thing and the smoking weed upstairs to say once everybody found out that it was me who was involved with this, now all of a sudden people want to turn it into show up making it like it's Freaknik where they smoking weed upstairs. But here's what I'll say to Jeezy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jeezy, that's kind of on you. And again, I say that, but I'm not blaming him. It's just when you've curated an image for yourself of being Mr. 17.5, Snowman, like when you've done that, that is your, you know, to continue using the word that we've used a couple times already, that's your constituency. Your constituency is going to follow you wherever you go if they know that that's where you are. So if you can sort of project into the future and determine that constituency is going to have a negative impact on any particular business venture that you're involved in, it behooves you to not make it known that you're involved because they're going to follow you. And and really that's kind of what he's been able to do with his music career has become a gift and a curse, because clearly he's carved a niche, he's carved a place for himself in hip hop history. Whether, you know, we can talk all day long about skills and whether he's in on this top list or whatever. I don't like lists. I've talked about how I don't like lists because they're just completely arbitrary and rooted in subjectivity. But Jeezy, nevertheless, has a defined place in this music game because of the kind of sound that he proliferated when he came into the game all of those years ago. He, like I said, I believe he invented it for the most part, and he perfected it, and it followed him for his entire career path as a rapper up until he stepped away from actively making music the way that he used to when he was more active with it. So it's been good for you because you've been able to be Jeezy the business. That's what allowed you to become Jeezy the businessman that you are now. But the curse angle of it is that identity is going to follow you. That base is going to follow you. That constituency is going to follow you. It's like Trump with his Make America Great Again people. Like from here on out, it's no matter what he does to try and curtail that, to sort of play more into the center. He's that groundswell of support on that side for him is so deeply entrenched and intertwined with who he is that they're going to follow him no matter what. He'd have to go to extreme lengths to alienate that base. Jeezy at this point would have to go to extreme lengths to alienate the streets. Yeah. So when you say, hey, I'm Jeezy and I'm involved in this, they're going to follow you, bro. And so, yeah, 5-star Steakhouse in Buckhead, the streets are going to follow you to that place because they know that you're involved. And for better or for worse, that customer base, more likely than not, is going to make something go from 5-star to 4 to 3 until eventually it shuts down. Now, we can get into the weeds sociologically with why that is, but that isn't the purpose of this particular segment. We are just going to comment on the fact that that's what's going to happen. So, like, for Jeezy or the rest of these other rappers who try to diversify their bonds, as Chappelle once said on an episode of Chappelle's show, you got to be careful. It's interesting too because somebody like Styles P, Styles P has his juice bar business, and you don't hear these same sorts of challenges coming out of Styles P. And I think a lot of it has to do with the type of artist that Styles P was juxtaposed to Jeezy. Now, Styles, whether a solo artist or as a member of the Locks, rapped about street stuff, but the tone of it is far different than what Jeezy did. And I think that if you unpack that, therein lies the difference between why Styles P can be public with the fact that he's the proprietor of his juicery thing, and why Jeezy doing the same thing poses different challenges. Hey, bro, like you did what you did, Jeezy, and it's cool. Like I got a lot of respect for Jeezy, but from a strategic standpoint, probably in the future, if it's that kind of context, upscale 5-star restaurants located in an affluent neighborhood in America, because of what you curated for yourself coming up, might be best to just keep that low key because you see what can happen.
Yeah, I get it now. I came full circle on this thing. I don't went from not blaming him to blaming him. But no, I get it on this now because as you were saying that, I was picturing in my head. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? But I was like, oh wait, his fans came.
That's what it is. That's what he's saying.
No,
that's
I
what
know.
He's saying.
Nah, yeah. I'm a fan. So I'm thinking like, nah, so who cares? Nah, his fans came. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's the, those guys.
Yeah.
And so, there were the me and yous that went because, oh shit, it's Jeezy. We're gonna behave ourselves. But those other guys, I mean, they don't behave themselves anywhere. So yeah, I can see why, because those were the guys smoking in there.
Yeah,
they do whatever they want everywhere they go. It's the wildest stuff. So I'm not surprised those guys showed up. So if that was turning into a thing like that, I could see that driving down the value and then other types of things. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to be around that. I mean, I don't live that life. And if you're around that stuff long enough, you're gonna get caught up in it, whether you like it or not. So I'm not going there. because they got the shenanigans going. So yeah, I guess he should have just kept that, because yeah, you think street, but we've been to some shows where maybe Jeezy never was in Tallahassee though, was he?
Yeah, we went. I don't know if you were there, but me and D Money, we went to a Jeezy show once in Tallahassee at Taboo before they closed that down.
Man,
I don't think you were there. I think it was just me and him that night.
I
It was
bet
cool though. Yeah, it was cool, man. I give Jeezy credit, bro. Like, he performed. He wasn't being a diva. He was out there. The time that he was scheduled to start, it was like 10:30 or whatever, or 11 something.
professional.
He was there and he did the whole set up until 2 when it let out.
Oh, wow.
He ain't just do 1 or 2 songs and leave. He did the whole
wow.
set. It was cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
Jeezy.
right.
I got respect for Jeezy, but there's a give and take with some of the career arcs that we ingratiate ourselves with. And I think that's the biggest lesson in this whole thing, is like, Snowman allowed you to become Jeezy Businessman, but now Jeezy Businessman has to strategically position himself in such a way that the Snowman customer base isn't going to threaten anything that Jeezy the Businessman wants to do.
That's sad, man.
Yeah,
That's sad. And honestly, that's just sad, because I was getting at him for turning his back on the streets, but it's like, hey, bro, the streets is not. Well, I mean, look, you were feeding the streets. Pause. We were feeding the streets this. You created these monsters.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
I'm blaming him again. I don't care. You created those monsters. Those guys, you damn right they shut that shit down. They need to shut down your next shit you try to start on the low in their ass. Because you got a whole bunch of dudes in prison because they were sitting there listening to that trap shit, and a whole bunch of people on some other dumb shit because they was listening to that trap shit. Hey, I was listening to it too, but I came up in a different circumstance. But it was dudes that was coming up in a circumstance where it was accessible, and they got into it, and they were bumping your anthems. So no, they needed to do that. No, I'm cheering that on now. I came all kinds of ways, man. I was over here, over there. Yeah, I'm standing on this one though, because it just dawned on me. I would have thought about this after the whole stream. I'm like, damn it, no. But yeah, nah, hell no, Jeezy. Nice try though. Nice.
Yeah, I think he should just keep his mouth shut, because bro, if whatever you attach your name to, that's what's gonna happen because of what you did. I mean, Jeezy's first album was in what, 2005, and this was strong all the way through all of these albums, through the mid 2000 teens, before he finally started to slow down. That's over a decade of street psychosis, and you're the captain of this ship. So yeah, they're gonna come out in droves, and so. I'm being reasonable in characterizing it as a gift and a curse, but nevertheless, it's a problem that he created through his musical moniker, and the thing that makes him so unique from the rest of these people is he was really able to tap into the soul of some of these people who come from the same places, and they really do. Like he was perhaps the most effective, more so maybe than any other rapper, of making people truly believe that he was doing this stuff while he was rapping about it. And so when you got that kind of cachet, because it's like, this man's really doing this, they're gonna follow you, and they will ruin whatever. Not that his musical career was illegitimate, but you know what I mean. They'll ruin whatever white America corporate type business venture you try to get into. So just be a silent partner. That's what I say. And that's the price you pay. Yeah, maybe you can't be front facing like that, but that's the price you pay when you develop that kind of name for yourself over an extended period of time. So it got you there, but now you can be a silent partner and enjoy the fruits of your labor without making it known. Because if you make it known, hey, they're going to tear that shit up, just like they tear everything else up. So, hey, bro, kind of only have yourself to blame. even though I feel where he's coming from, everybody should have the opportunity to do it. But hey, bro, you kind of made that bed yourself. So, you know, snowman, bitch. You know, that's
Exactly.
kind of what you get, bro. For it is what it is.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
What a
Jeezy.
wild segment.
Oh boy. Good luck on your book, Jeezy, man. I hope you sell plenty of copies, man.
Yeah, man,
Adversity certified or whatever it's
get some.
called. Sell
Yeah,
them
get
books,
clean
bro.
money, bro. Get clean money, bro.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Oh.
Crazy.
All right. So, friend of the channel. Drake
Ah.
Drake is a certified friend of the channel.
Oh, all right.
He is. We have talked about Drake on this channel several times. Last week we had a Drake topic. Drake is a fascinating human being, I think. And he has provided us with more content for the channel. Drake has now voiced his thoughts on why he, at least for now, doesn't see marriage in the cards for him. He believes that it's an ancient notion or an ancient concept or something of that nature. But of course, because we provide context for all of our topics on this channel, we will go ahead and read from this so that Drake can speak for himself. Now, this article, Drake is big right now because he's currently on tour. I think the name of his current tour is called "It's All a Blur." There's all kinds of shenanigans and tomfoolery going on Drake's tour. Women throwing panties and bras at him on a nightly basis. All kind of shenanigans going on Drake's tour. And recently, Drake took a break from the tour to talk about personal stuff, I guess. So this article says Drake doesn't want to get married, thinks it's ancient. Drake took a break from his lengthy "It's All a Blur" tour to talk with podcast host Bobbi Althoff. Not sure exactly how to pronounce that. Althoff. Hope I'm saying that right. The pod environment is very peculiar. The rapper and Althoff are both tucked into a bed with drinks in hand, just chilling and shooting the breeze in an informal setting. In their conversation, Drizzy talks about everything from the origins of his stage name to the rapper introducing the young influencer to Tyga. He also gave his opinion on marriage, calling it something from ancient times.
Oh.
I don't think I can offer somebody what they'd be looking for, Drake says. Being completely honest, my work is my priority. He cites how there wouldn't be any consistency with a long-term committed relationship because of how busy he is with his hip-hop career. I wouldn't want to not be able to contribute as a partner, Drake says as Bobbi tries to finish his sentence with "sleep around" instead. He also gives one glib reason: because I'm not Amish, to which Althoff responds, "What do you have against Amish people?" So we will go ahead and just play this clip. This is a clip from this interview that was on Neighborhood Talk off of Instagram. And so it was embedded into the page of this article. And so we'll go ahead and hit play, and then we will, of course, opine on what Drake had to say in this exchange overall afterwards.
Fair use.
Why'd you write that?
Why'd you get married?
Why not? Why didn't
Why
you
do
get
people
married?
get married?
Why didn't you get married?
I don't know. It seems like not too, like, I don't know. It seems like a thing of like ancient times or something. Maybe.
You're never gonna get married. You just said that earlier. You said you were gonna get married to someone who wasn't famous earlier.
Yeah.
So
I think I will eventually. You asked me why haven't I gotten married?
Yeah.
The truth?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I can offer somebody what they'd be looking for. Just consistency. I think my life, my work is my priority.
Mhm.
So then I wouldn't want to not be able to
sleep around.
Contribute as a partner.
Sleep around. Don't lie. We know what people
glimpse
do.
into what your relationship is like. Judgy. Judge Larry.
Don't call me Larry.
So
you don't want to get married because you want to sleep around?
Well, no, I don't want to get married because like I just don't want to disappoint someone, and like I'm not like Amish.
What do you have against Amish people?
I don't. It's just like I needed something to rebuttal the fact that you're saying that I'm basically like a.
Oh man.
All right, so there you have it. That Althoff, Bobbi Althoff, she was all stoic. I don't know if that's her shtick and if she does that on purpose
It is.
or whether
Yeah.
that's how she actually is. But Drake, trying to be the reasonable, conscientious, compassionate person, saying that he wouldn't be able to contribute as a partner, and saying that marriage is from ancient times. So, what did you think about that exchange there?
Um yeah, I agree with his stance there. I think that from the numerous conversations that or at least the one that we had from his wedding ring necklace thing, yeah, it just doesn't seem like something that's in his cards that he seriously wants to do, at least at this point. And he verifies that in his statements here. So and yeah, he can't give a woman what she wants. She hit the nail on the head when she was like, or because you would still want to sleep around. It's like, well, yeah. And she will leave because I was cheating. I only have to do it once. I'm gonna do it more than once. And so long as she got one on record, it's a wrap for me. And she can just, I can't do this. Why? Because he cheated. 3 years ago. And she can call that, and ain't no statutes of limitations on that. And the marriage is over, and it was his fault. So why would he do it? So and we speak about this all the time about dudes that are financially well off. It doesn't behoove them to get into the institution of marriage, because the institution is for someone who is of a lower class, if we all want to be honest. So he doesn't have to do that. He's in a class where he doesn't have to get married. So yeah, I agree with him there. And one thing before I go, well, I'll let you go. So, and this is an interview that was kicking up so much dust. People upset that Drake did this interview with this Bobbi girl instead of doing it on their podcast or their morning radio show. And it's like, listen, Drake don't do stuff like that. When has he ever done anything like that? He doesn't do that. That's not part of his brand. And he'll be watering down his brand by getting on your sloppy morning show with your stupid questions. So he's not going to go do that. So what he is going to do is talk to Lil Yachty. What he is going to do is talk to this little Bobbi girl. And who is she? She's new on the scene. What is she doing? A dry humor that's cutting edge, possibly. The new type of humor that millennials or Gen Zers can identify with. So he's tapping into a new thing. This is part of his marketing. This is part of his brand. So no, he's not going to do nothing archaic like your goofy morning show where you're looking for some goofy soundbite. He's going to do a serious but not serious interview where things that he says could be taken as humor. Roll off back. He wasn't really being serious. Are you serious? That whole interview was satire. So he does stuff like that. So to me, again, brilliant PR department and all that stuff. Hey man, let the boy have it. But all those pods out there that's, you know what I'm saying, all sour and all this other garbage, the hell with it. Let the boy make his bread. He's writing a blueprint. Maybe other people should follow. But how about you, sir? How do you feel about this situation here, man? Do you think that Sir Drake's got a point about not getting married?
He definitely has a point, but I also think that the host called him out on his bullshit. Like, he's trying to make himself seem redeemable by saying that he doesn't want to get married because of his career and that he wouldn't be able to contribute as a partner, to use his words. But let's be real. The real reason why he doesn't want to get married is because he wants to be able to be with any woman he wants when he wants. And being in a marriage would make doing that not as easy. If Drake knew, first, we talked on Drake on this topic before, and I've said I don't think Drake actually wants in his life the things that he raps about, because Drake does a lot of vagina rap. He does a lot of vagina pedestalizing in his music, puts women way up here. They should be worshipped like Wonder Woman or some shit. Uh, and and within those lyrics, he often laments on how he experiences dissonance because he lives this fast hip hop lifestyle, but intrinsically yearns to be with someone if it's someone who he can trust. And I've always said, if he really wanted to do it, he could. It is within Drake's power to find a woman who he can trust. It is. It really is. He just won't do it because it's not what he actually wants to do. But it sounds good to make music suggesting that it is something that he would do if presented with the opportunity. And I think that that's complete and utter cap. He wants to be able to slur it up with as many women that he wants for however long he wants until he can't do it anymore.
Right.
And here's the thing about that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly okay.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
so when she says sleep around, she's absolutely correct. And that's why he had that awkward, goofy ass look on his face and started nervously laughing when she said that, because he knows that that's the crux of the whole thing. It ain't got nothing to do with his focus on his career or or um or wanting to contribute as a partner. Because if he wanted to get married, he could find a woman who was willing to put up with however much focus he has to devote to his career, who would also allow him to contribute as much as he's willing to. He'd be able to find that. These women would give up life and limb to be with Drake. A lot of them out here, they would. So him being able to secure that would not be a problem in my opinion, but it sounds better for him to say that than to say, I want to continue to be able to smash bitches until, my shit falls off, which is what the truth is and which is what she said. And like I said, that's perfectly fine. It is well within Drake's right to continue to slur it up. More power to him. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give Drake credit for this. More dudes need to follow Drake's model. We talk about women being hypergamous and just kind of being we call them you call them moderns, right? It's a particular type of mentality. I say that a lot of women, not all, so disclaimer, not all, but there's a fair amount of women today who operate in the dating space from a masculine standpoint. They keep options open at all times. They keep many men on rotation and they use them for different purposes, inherently making them untrustworthy. And a lot of the rhetoric that's going around as we dissect this modern dating pool is this fallacy that women are inherently that way. Now, if you want to believe that, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to stop you for thinking that, but I just don't agree. I think that women are made into monsters by men who don't operate from the code that Drake does, which is stop running these chicks through the mud. If you know you want to be out here slurring it up, and you're not really trying to be with one chick because you want to be with all the women in the world and you want to have all your options, stop getting married. Stop getting girlfriends. Just keep doing this stuff. Because whether you want to believe it or not, most women in the world are not okay with their dudes doing this. They're not. They don't want to be with a guy who's going to be doing all of this stuff. They really don't. In a perfect world, they want a guy to be a one-woman man. Preferably them being that one woman. That's what they want. So when they get with the dude and he's not doing this and he's running them through the mud all up and down because he's getting into these relationships or he's getting into these legal contracts like marriage, making a solemn vow to never forsake the relationship because she's the only one in his eyes. When those expectations become violated, these women become monsters. And then they start basically doing the same thing to men that they had men do to them. So I think if more guys did what Drake is doing by just opting to not get married, because they're going to honestly live by their truth. Hey, man, I'm not getting married because I'm going to slur it up. There's going to be less women out here who are going to be operating out here as relationship monsters. And, in turn, these women get with other guys who have good intentions and they're being monsters to these dudes. Next thing you know, now these dudes are themselves are monsters, and now it becomes this revolving door of relationship toxicity perpetuation, in which everybody's being a monster to the other person. And it's like, hey man, look, if you don't want to do this thing for real, stop pretending. Y'all need to see. And the problem is, we have way too many men out here in the world who don't have a code that they live by. See, men today aren't principled and they don't operate by a code. As much as I might not agree with the content of Drake's music, I, at the very least, can respect the fact that by all appearances, he operates by some kind of code when it comes to his views on marriage and relationships. And that code is, I'm not going to put myself in a situation in which my moral compass is compromised because I've made some sort of promise to this chick, even though I know I can't live up to that promise because I want to be with all the women in the world. So instead of doing this, I'm just going to continue to be single until I don't want to be single anymore. That way, I don't have to deal with this moral corruption that I am feeling within me to do what I claim that I want to do by doing the relationship thing, even though I actually don't want to do that. But what we have going on out here is a lot of dudes who don't live by a code. So they get married even though they don't, even though they shouldn't, or they get into cohabitation situations, start having kids and all of this kind of stuff, even though they know that they ain't about that life. They still want to be out in the streets, getting with this chick and get with that chick and doing whatever. So it's like, you want to do these things, yet you submit to this notion of being this one woman guy, and it's just not going to fly. And then you turn the women into monsters, and then the women are out here being monsters, doing monstrous shit. So at least Drake operates by a code, and he is not going to allow himself to be victimized by this dynamic where he's dealing with this cognitive dissonance, wrestling with constant moral ambiguity. And a lot of these guys don't even have moral constraints that they have to wrestle with. They just don't have a code, period. They'll get married even though they know that they still going to be out there doing their thing. And it's just like, hey, bro, don't get married. Just don't do it. But this is what you got. So, the only thing that I'll call Drake out on is I think that he was full of shit talking about how he would do it under said circumstances, when really you aren't going to do it under any circumstances. You just want to continue to, as the host put it, sleep around, and more power to him, because at least he's not leading women astray, making him think that he's something that he's not. And that's what far too many of our fellow men do. They have women believing that they are something that they are not. And then when the truth comes out, the women become monsters, and then they turn other men into monsters, and then those men end up doing the same thing to unsuspecting women, turning them into monsters, so on and so forth. And now we have this back and forth situation where everybody's out here being a narc and being a monster. So I say, Drake, don't ever get married. Get married if you're 80. If you feel as though that's the best thing for you to do, because it is far worse to create more monsters out of these women in the world than it is to continue to be a bachelor well into your advanced age. And don't listen to any of these women out here who want to bully you into making you believe that you're supposed to do that relationship shit when you really don't actually have to. So,
oh yeah, no, yeah, he's in a class. Like I said, he's in a class where he doesn't even have to do that. Like I don't know why rich dudes get married. Like it's damn near pointless, especially in today's day and age. Maybe back in the day that could fly, but not now. Like that is not a thing. And so, back in the day, wealthy dudes, those women stayed. you know. But now that you can live your best life, why deal with rules? I can just leave. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's such a trap. Like low-key don't even blame them for just falling into this. It's so available for them to do it. And so they just get into this lifestyle. Oh, well, didn't work. Yeah, whatever. So why would Drake even consider it? I wouldn't even consider it. Now, of course, I don't think he's considering it either, seriously. And as you said, he was full of shit when the girl asked him that, but he has to be full of shit. So again, with Drake, everything is brand first. And he can't sit there and be honest about that. He was as honest as he could be. And if he was a little bit too, honest, then I'm pretty sure there's some law of power that he just violated by talking too much. So, hey, no, I just need to mature more. Yeah, good answer, Drake.
You're right. Very PR. Very PR. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
and that was the wild thing about him doing such interview like this with such a person, because her whole brand is catching you off guard. So I saw some of more of the interview, and he was trying to get back at her. He hit her with a couple of zings. He's a real smart ass. So but I still felt like it was low-key kind of risky for his whatever. But the machines, I'm sure, had some final say-so in the editing process. So this, seeing Drake in his most vulnerable state, very awkward in the bedroom. Now you gotta see what they be doing when they do these things. Why would they sit there and do an interview in the bed? That's an intimate spot. He was sipping on some wine, and he's being awkward and vulnerable. He's being more real. He's talking about things like marriage and other things. And so you connect with him more. This is all brilliant. You're not going to achieve that with DJ Academics. You're going to get a whole bunch of snot-nosed Fortnite playing ass kids. You already got them in the bag. Like, what are we doing? So he doesn't need to do no interview with Cuck 22, Joe Buttons, or what's that Elliot guy? Fuck out of here, man. Who cares about all you people? Drake is on another level. He's way beyond you guys. He's a pop star rapper, man. So he doesn't need to do y'all little rap pods. So I felt like this whole thing, I felt like it was genius for him. I felt like it was a good play, this whole thing. And again, rich dude getting married. Why would you risk your catalog money? Why would you risk any of this? For some chick that's gonna be fly by night, and we already know what his picking, where he's fish at.
Mm-hmm.
So this damn sure ain't it either. So hey man, so long as you can get it up, bruh, ball out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be out there until I'm Hugh Hefner in it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to inject me with some like bull testosterone just for me to get it up. But I don't give a damn. You think I give a shit? I'm still be out there slaying it. What's happening? Because if I were in Drake's position, because who could he trust, honestly? I mean, Bill Gates got. So, hey, man, I'm all for it. I agree with him on this. Damn, Drake. I rarely agree with this bastard, but this time I agree with him. Yeah, he's got a point. I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I just, you can, like I said, you can say whatever you want about the content of his music, but at the very least, he's principled enough to know I don't need to get sucker punched into anything like that. I can keep doing what I'm doing, and there's nothing that can stop me. And I don't understand for the life of me why there's so many of these guys who put themselves in a position willfully to get sucker punched. Like, for a fact, the second you put the ring on this chick's finger, you're going to be seeing other women anyway. You know this. You know it immediately, yet you do it anyway. Why? There's no incentive for you to do this. Like, there's going to be no shortage of women who are willing to do whatever you want because of who you are. So just ride that wave until there's no reason why you shouldn't have to do that. So, yeah, I concur with his sentiments, and kudos to him, because definitely his track record, you're not finding there's a short list of women in Tootsie's and 11 who are going to who are going to or chicks who serve drinks at Live or any of these other places that he likes to frequent down here, who are going to be the quality woman that you pray tell to speak on publicly. So while that is who you are, Aubrey, best to just steer clear of the situation and just make sure that you do things in such a way that you can remain disease free. That's my whole thing, bro. Just stay disease free. You stay disease free, you got it. But definitely don't get married. Stop selling these chicks a dream, because when you sell them a dream, it has a detrimental effect for other men out there in the world who have to come up and pick up your pieces after you've devastated these chicks and turned them into monsters. So, that's my whole thing. There's a lot of women out here walking around who are monsters, man eaters, straight Venus flytraps. They do not have a soul because they have had their soul taken away from them by some guy who ran them through the mud because he married them or cohabitated with them while he was still doing his thing when he just should have never sold you that bag of goods in the first place. So, Drake, at least by all accounts, isn't creating more monsters by via cohabitation, marriage, or any kind of pseudo relationship situation. Not that we know of, at least, because even if he is slipping up and doing dumb shit like that, he at least has the wherewithal to back himself up with ironclad NDAs. So kudos all the way around to Drake and the way that he approaches these situations.
Yeah, and a caveat, because I know somebody just waiting there. Caveat. So of course we're not talking about, and we've mentioned this before, but we're not talking about the LeBron James and whatever his wife name is situation where they've known each other since forever. And that situation, there's kind of like you can trust that at least. Now, if you get got by that, then it's like it is what it is. But those are the ones you could trust. But if I'm superstar Drake at age 30, whatever years old, and I meet some whatever woman, wherever the hell I meet her at, she danced a Hotline Bling. She know who the hell I am. It's a wrap. And how can I trust that? So that's what we mean by, in these contexts, rich, well-off people who have already hit their apex, and somebody can smell that money from a mile away, and they come rolling up on them, floating like goddamn cartoon, whenever they smell the pie in the window. And then now they and you see it coming from a mile away. You feel it. So why would you trust that feeling? You don't. So they don't marry. And I don't recommend those guys to marry. Now, if some guy does marry despite all of that, to hell with it. And it's not like you didn't get warnings from people that's around you, I'm sure, or previous cases that are highly publicized and are in the news. So it's hard to feel sorry for those people too. What you think? This the special one? Boy, please. So, hey, man, it's a gift and a curse for being in that position, And in today's day and age, if you want to look back at it in old times, bro, you are literally a freaking king. And you can do whatever you want, basically, in the kingdom. And everybody knows your name. So you're not in the same class. So you can't play by the same rules as regular people. So regular people, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all in a situation where y'all can make it work. But these well-off people, hey, man, it's too many vultures in that tank. And there's no telling which one's going to get you. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's a smart guy, and he's conscientious enough to know, he likes his strippers, his models, his, he likes all of that kind of stuff. Women who essentially make themselves available to the highest bidder. And those are perhaps the least relationship quality person imaginable. And I think he's aware of that. And so that factors into his rhetoric, because he wants to continue to gallivant in those circles with those women, but also knows that there's a price to pay for getting into anything with any of them. So while he still has the urge to do that, best to just keep it single and casual. That's the best decision for him to make. And he's smart for that. He's not an idiot like Paul George or Zion Williamson, or yeah, he's not an idiot like any of these people. I can just go down the list. Those guys are dumbasses.
Hey, he got by a baby too now. He got a baby on his ass.
He did, but she's a European chick with different sensibilities. It ain't like coming over here and dealing with these weirdo hypergamy chicks over here.
You mean like strippers?
Precisely. Yeah, and Drake loves his, Drake loves his strippers. And go listen to the song on "Take Care." Lord knows with Rick Ross. The first 6 to 8 bars of his verse tells you the whole thing that he goes through with this women stuff. So don't listen to that, and that'll give you everything you need to know. But like I said, you're not going to go to Tootsie's or Live or 11, Magic City, Onyx. You're not going to go to any of these places like Drake likes to frequent and find this woman who's going to change his mind in terms of, I might actually reverse my ship and decide, maybe marriage is the right move for me. Hell no, that ain't finna happen. So as long as he knows that that's what he likes to do, he's comfortable enough in his skin to be like, I'm not doing this. Versus some of these other simpish, weak men who know that that's what they want to do, but allow themselves to be bamboozled by these BBL clad chicks into getting married to them. Crazy. I don't get it. But Drake is of sound mind, at least on this front, which is more than you can say for people like Zion and Paul George. So.
Yeah, BBL clad is crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, BBL, that is exactly what it is. I don't know what the hell these plastic fetish people.
Yeah,
get a grip.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you can with that. I don't know what the hell that is. Get some help, seriously.
Yeah, facts on facts. Shouts out for the content, Drake. Keep doing your thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so Pound Town rapper Sexy Red
wow.
is being called out for emasculating black men in her act. So I am located in Miami, Florida. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. I, of course, now reside in Miami, Florida once again. And Rolling Loud is one of the biggest musical shows, concerts that you can attend in the country, and one of the biggest versions of Rolling Loud, because they do it in multiple cities. But one of the biggest Rolling Louds that you can go to is the one that's in Miami. Sexy Red recently was performing at Rolling Loud Miami, and apparently, while she performed during her act, she had men on leashes as she, performed her songs. And there are people on social media who are disturbed by this and are suggesting that she is perpetuating the notion of black male emasculation. So we will go ahead and share this to provide some context for this situation with Sexy Red. So this says Sexy Red claps back at hater claiming she emasculated black men at Rolling Loud Miami. So as you can see there, that is the aforementioned Sexy Red there. It says Sexy Red took the stage at Rolling Loud Miami this weekend, stirring up a bit of controversy with part of her performance. She walked onto the stage with 2 men on leashes, which some social media users were bothered by. One in particular, conservative commentator Joey Manarino, took to Twitter to air his concerns. Quote, Sexy Red, the artist behind Pound Town, I laugh every time I even say that. The artist behind Pound Town just came out with 2 black men at her feet like dogs at Rolling Loud. He wrote, hip-hop culture has been taken over by people who want to forever emasculate black men. It's sad. It's clear that Manarino wasn't at all pleased with the display. However, Sexy Red doesn't seem to be fazed. She responded to his post, simply writing, I'm freaky, shut up. It's far from the first time that Sexy Red has faced criticism, and it's obvious that she plans on sticking by her art. There you can see the tweet there. She said, I'm freaky, shut up. Last week, Sexy Red also faced some backlash after a clip of her appearing to perform at a school circulated the internet. Various social media users weighed in, claiming that her material was inappropriate to perform in front of school-aged children. The artist responded to the outrage, taking to social media to defend herself. She claimed to have been at the school to donate money to the kids for their prom, which she says she would have appreciated at their age. So the rest of it goes into some random stuff where her and Drake correspond with one another on the internet. None of that's relevant to this particular conversation. But yeah, there you go. So for anybody who is a friend of the channel and you're looking at this video and you are unaware of who Sexy Red is or have heard the song Pound Town, strongly encourage you to go listen to it. You might need to, take a relaxative first. Yeah.
Take a bath afterwards.
You might need to shower when it's over, but go ahead and listen to it just so that you can get a glimpse of what all the hoopla is with this Sexy Red chick. So yeah, this dude on Twitter claimed that she is a part of the aspect of hip hop culture that is trying to emasculate black men. Do you agree with his take?
No. And so, I mean, there's so many ways to slice that up. Now, her clap back wasn't much of a clap. I'm freaky. Shut up, man. These kids were failed in school, man. And that's the only thing she's got to say. She doesn't really have to even address the guy, but nevertheless. But I feel like he's wrong. I don't feel like the emasculation of black males didn't start with these female rappers. How about that? I think the emasculation of male rappers started when they started sagging their pants, bragging about shooting one another. I think that's when they stopped being men. And I think that's when we started rewarding, praising, and worshiping grown children. Now, they weren't the things that they promote in their songs are not masculine. Even if you go all the way up until the latter portion of trap rap, right before we got into thought rap, where they started talking about jugging, finessing, kicking indoors, stealing. I was like, damn, what happened to being a hustler? Now we just turn into petty crime. And so if you have a whole song, mixtape, every other song's talking about finessing, bad business practices, you're not preaching manhood. You're actually preaching a very childish form of being an adult. So males have been emasculating themselves before these women started doing it. Let's get that one going. Then the other part is, if she was really being honest, she wouldn't have just had 2 men on a leash. She would have like 4 or 5. Because just like you said in the last one, that's the amount of dudes that's in rotation. And she got them all on a leash. That's what they're literally doing to all these dudes out here. That's actually more factual than emasculating. That's how these girls see you. So she ain't wrong. So again, I don't know who the hell this dude is. Want to get all almighty on female rappers. Like, how can you be mad at what they're doing right now for all the garbage we done did and start dumping on them for the last 30 years? So you can't be surprised at this. And so don't call them out for it, for emasculating you for the last 10 minutes when you've been emasculating yourself for the last hour and a half. So how about you, sir? How do you feel about this entire situation? Do you agree with the tweeter, or do you think Miss Sexy Red has got it all figured out here?
I completely agree with you. I think anybody who listens to the song Pound Town, let me put it to you this way. if you're a man and you're listening to the song Pound Town, you're emasculated already. You're not becoming masculine. You're not becoming emasculated because you decided to listen to that music. You exposing yourself to the content means that you are already emasculated to begin with. And I completely agree. Like, these behaviors are reflections of the way that our culture has adopted certain forms of behavior. If you're a man and you have accepted and furthermore desire to um you welcome the idea that you're just going to date women who've had multiple surgeries, or you're embracing the idea that you're going to date a woman who's available to the highest bidder. You know that this woman has been with several men who you know who might be high profile, rich, have money, whatever, and you're just in line waiting for your turn to get with this same woman. You want to date chicks who do OnlyFans. You want to date chicks who do porn. You want to date Instagram models. You want to date strippers. If these are your sensibilities, you're already emasculated. The music didn't do anything but reinforce that for you.
Yep.
So you're already living an emasculated existence to begin with because you have adopted a lot of these emasculated ideals.
Yep.
You want to finesse people. You want to, by default, do things illegitimately. These are emasculated concepts. The music is merely a mirror of all of this. So you can say what you want about Sexxy Red or any of the rest of these female rappers, but as I and you have said on this channel many, many times before, there are always two sides to the same coin. There's a heads and there's a tails. Flip one coin, you get one side, you flip it again, and you get the other side. Just as you got male rap on one side of the coin, where they're talking about, dogging chicks, relegating women to being whatever, there to just be at the whim of whatever it is that you want them to do, get them to do this or that, sell this or that, be with another chick, do whatever you want them to do because they're just merely tools to be used at your disposal. Women are now rapping about how their vagina is for sale and how they're available to the highest bidder, how you can't touch them, date them, be with them, sleep with them, marry them, unless you have a $20-30 million net worth and can spend as much on your assets as possible so that you can afford her presence, because she doesn't have to offer up anything tangible to you other than be there physically. So when you embrace these concepts, you're already emasculated. And the music is only like regurgitating what's already going on out here. So it's offering up a mirror, but you've been emasculated from the get-go. I'll even take it a step further. If you're a dude and you bought a ticket to Rolling Loud because you wanted to see the Sexyy Red performance, you're emasculated. You're emasculated. It is what it is. You're dating these chicks who are masculine because they've been turned into monsters by other dudes who were emasculated, right? So you have emasculated men with the wrong values turning women out. And then those women then turn out other people, just like I said in the previous topic. So it's perpetuating a cycle of emasculation. But the music is irrelevant. It's the behavior that the music is reinforcing, perhaps, but didn't create because it was already there to begin with. When y'all go on to Instagram and y'all like pics of Instagram models and you comment on them with those goofy ass emojis, trying to DM them to get their number or to try and get them to, when you try to fly out a chick who does OnlyFans because you want to be able to get with them, and so you fly them out, you pay for their airfare. Those are emasculating behaviors, guys. You're already you've emasculated yourself, and we ain't even getting into other aspects of emasculation. We're just talking about women.
It's surface.
Yeah, yeah. We're just talking about women. Okay, you're already emasculated. You're following these rappers who sing about this stuff in their music. These guys are emasculated.
That's
And
right.
you're following behind them like shepherds to the flock.
That's right.
Okay, you got these rappers talking about how they'll pay for a BBL surgery. That is emasculation. It is. I don't care what way you want to slice it. It's emasculation. So, you can sit up there in the audience, sir, and call out Sexy Red for having dudes on leashes, but I would then ask you, what are you doing there? Why are you there? Why are you there?
Bruh,
Like,
if I
are you
was
there? You need to provide context. Like, are you there in a journalistic capacity because you're covering her performance? I doubt it. You were there because you wanted to see it. So,
I ain't
sir,
gonna lie.
you yourself might be emasculated.
What? All right. Oh, is this emasculation? Now now we got an emasculation test. Hold on. Is this emasculation? So since it's Pound Town and it's Sexy Red, she brought her constituents. Now, if I was into that lifestyle, am I emasculate myself because I'm trying to be in the crowd trying to get some Pound Town?
Yes. If I would say that if you're in the crowd looking for the Pound Town constituency, you're already emasculated.
Yeah.
Just like if you just like if you decide that you want to allocate your hard-earned resources to trying to get dates with strippers at the strip club, that's an emasculating behavior. To me, it's all the same because you can go and look. I have nothing against Rolling Loud, but you at the Sexy Red show. Now, if you were going to see, and the format of Rolling Loud is that there's different sets and there's different artists performing at the same time at these multiple sets. So there's no, if you're there, it's because you intended to be. Because if you ain't about that Sexy Red shit, you can go to another set. You're there. So unless you're a journalist covering that, which again, that wouldn't even make sense, I'm going to ask you, why are you there? Why? Perhaps it's because you know who's going to be there. You want to get some of that Pound Town action. But I would suggest if you want to get some of that Pound Town action, you're already a part of what you claim to hate so much, which is what you think hip hop culture has done. But it wasn't hip hop culture. It was what preceded hip hop culture. And hip hop culture is just a byproduct of it. Go read, open up a history book and do some reading for all of that. But the point is, get off this chick's back. Now, that's a separate conversation from her and her music because I'm not a part. I can't stand her music. I think her music. She just has the one song. I don't know what else she's done. But I think that song is ridiculous. It's goofy. But hey, man, that's modern hip hop today. All of these chicks are rapping about the most ratchetest shit ever. That if you don't like it, just don't listen to it. Like me, I've made the conscious decision. I just don't listen to it. It is what it is. But to engage in this righteous indignation about emasculating black men, those dudes who are on those leashes, they probably Gen Zers themselves. They're a part of the emasculated generation. What do you expect? So I don't look at her. I look at the environment and the culture as a whole, personally. But yeah, you don't sit out there calling her out for this stuff. There's much more going on here. And if you don't want to be a part of the situation, just like I preached up on here about being a utilitarian, make life choices that allow you to align with things that give you practical purpose. If you don't want to be a part of this machine, don't follow Instagram models. Don't follow strippers. Don't follow OnlyFans chicks. Don't like their pics. Don't go to the Sexy Red show. If you go to the Sexy Red show, then you're a part of the problem, not the solution.
Yeah, honestly, bro, just you know what? Men need to have to just take a stand. And bro, and just shut the attention off. Just shut it off. And I think we'll be surprised what we see once we do that. And because it's always this thing where it's like, oh yeah, because I get into the habit too, blaming most women. But it's really I'm really starting to come to the conclusion that it's on the guys.
It is.
It's on the guys, and they just gotta they gotta just cut the bullshit. But they're so deep in it that telling them to do that. I mean, they're literally automated right now on bullshit.
Bot mode. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to try to get them up out of that, that's not going to be that's so much indoctrination that's going to have to get unwoven that I don't know if that's going to really be a thing, especially in mass. So, but I think what does need to happen is guys that do have, somewhat of a view of what the hell's going on, for us to really start setting standards for guys in general, because what the internet is getting itself into the habit of doing is turning themselves into victim mode, and now there's dudes out here who crying that women have victim mentalities are just being victims them damn selves. So, oh yeah, they do this to me. Oh yeah, they do that to me. And it's just like, bro, shut up, man. And I get it too, because again, it's easy to get into that because it's frustration. And when you're talking about most women, they do be up to bullshit, but you know that already. And there's power in that. And it's time for guys to start wielding our power. Bro, they give us vagina because, well, they want the D, but also it's for manipulation. There's no other thing going on. It's for manipulation for something. They're getting that thing too, but they're using it. And that's why I said before in another one where I was like, bro, you got to devalue this stuff. You got to, be ready for sex, but turn your drive down. And what's going on with, pornography in people's phones, in their pockets, they can always get that dopamine rush whenever they want a key bump. Yeah. So when they're always, taking bumps, it's like, hey man, what's going on? So they're always high and they always want more sex. And so whenever they see booty, BBL or not, and that's why they're going crazy. That's what I'm saying. If for you to really be going crazy over BBLs, there's something you're getting too far somewhere. You're going too far. It's like, hey man, we treading water, and it's like, hey, when you start swimming out there, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Your ass might get swept up by the current. So, hey, keep it in house, bro. Like natural. Like, what's the big deal? But people, again, so doped up. So the sexual drive from these guys have to turn down, because mastering your sexuality, mastering, your now I won't say libido, just mastering all of that stuff, just the energy of that area is masculine. The emasculated version of that is busting nuts everywhere. Pansexual in it. Yeah, you just have sex with anybody. And that's what they're trying to turn everybody into, by the way. And this also goes for women. And that's why a nymphoed out woman ain't worth nothing. But the one that actually harnesses and holds in that power empowers the person. So a woman who's not in her true feminine energy is out there being loose. A man that's not in his true masculine energy in certain capacities, is not going to be rewarded by being a certain kind of loose. And so because you're whatever, you're the emperor and, you can just get it like that. All right, bro, whatever. But if you just out here thirsting, liking pictures, sending $5, sending $10, please read my message. She didn't read it this time. And sending $15. Yeah, I seen you, bro. You did it.
Super chatting. Yeah, you super chatting just to get a shout out. You super chatting and you not only are you a subscriber, but you a channel member.
Come on, bro. You're doing the whole nine.
Just to get that patronization.
And they joined the Patreon. So they done did the whole damn thing. And by the way, once we get all of those platforms launched here at but seriously. So, but yeah, man. So this whole dynamic, and this ties into the first conversation because Sir Jeezy, all right, Mr. Snowman himself, yeah, created an operation that he was trying to be a man. He was trying to do things the right way, square business. But he has a life behind him that he created with a whole bunch of emasculated men.
Yes.
And then once his emasculated men knew about his square business, they tore it up because emasculated men don't respect anything.
They don't value, correct.
They don't value anything. Now, so you want to blame Sexy Red for this, Mr. Twitter guy? Because Jeezy's been out since 2005. So this has been going on. And this is the problem. So that, like I said, from the sag in the pants to the gangster rap to the magazine covers back in the day with these dudes with no shirts on, everything being shot in prison and jail and all this other stuff, all these emasculated scenes. Every time they shoot a video, they show the graffiti, the scrums, all the garbage stuff in the community. It's the same thing over and over again. So what's been promoted this entire time? Men not being men. So honestly, that's what hip hop has turned into. So these girls just picking up a microphone are following your lead, sir, because the only thing a woman does is follow what a man done set out to do. So they're following somebody's lead, bro, and they're following yours. So get your ass out of the Sexy Red concert in the first damn place, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go listen to a real artist. It's freaking rolling loud.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, why are you there? Why are you there? That would be my retort to you. Unless you're a journalist, why are you there? You know, I don't want to hear that. Like, get out of here.
And even if he is a journalist, bro, he just needs to shut the hell up. That was a real dumb take. That for all the things for men to be complaining about, that ain't one of them. You need to sit down about that.
Right. But it's like you said, and I don't like I'll get on my soapbox and I'll critique certain things that women will say, not women, female rappers, but it's usually within the musical context. Like whenever we go in on some of these female rappers, it's not about larger societal observations. It's usually about things that they have said specifically when it comes to the music industry, right? Like Coi Leray talking about how she ain't getting no play because the music is oversaturated. Well, that's because you you make saturated music. So look in the mirror. Right. But we ain't sitting here saying women created this kind of stuff. And if you really wanted to take aim at a female rapper to use as an instance of hip hop emasculating black men, then you would have been doing that, like you said, a decade ago when the male rappers were setting the stage for this, well before female ratchet rap became a thing. Right. Because it's been happening since I was in elementary school. And now y'all want to talk about it because female rappers talking about pound towns and they baby need a new daddy and pay me just because I'm a woman. Hey, what do you think created this? Like this didn't just get created yesterday. Like it happened over the course of generations of a particular type of behavior being heralded through the music. So I think people like that need to check themselves. Now, if you wanted to critique Sexy Red off of being a trash rapper, I'll be like, yeah, bro, because she is trash. Right. Sorry, she's trash. But he went to black men being emasculated. And it's like, all right, bro, you weren't hollering nothing about that when these, rappers were talking about, the streets and, popularizing, glamorizing, selling cocaine. Not because it was something that they did out of survival, but because it was something that you should do in order to be true to who you are as a community. Is what I should be doing, is hustling in the streets. So I think you need to check who you want to blame for this kind of stuff, because it ain't Sexy Red, just like it ain't the rest of these female ratchet rappers, trash as I think they may be as actual artists.
Everybody's a SJW now, bro. Like it worked. And this cancel stuff, man, this self-censorship that they're making everybody do, man. And it's not like I stand for what she's doing, but he's an idiot, and that's a dumb take. And what, like, come on, bro, like that was so like very unnecessary. But
It is.
yeah, man.
But he very well may not know what emasculated actually means, because I'm pretty sure that there were other male rappers at Rolling Loud that you could look at and point to the emasculation going on there too.
Yeah,
I think for people such as him, and look, I don't even know the guy, but generally speaking, for anyone who's ignorant to what emasculation actually is, it's easier to see it when it's something as provocative as a man on a leash. So I think it's that kind of thing where it's like it's easier for you to identify that, but you could have identified it in a litany of other sets going on out there of not just the female rappers, but the male rappers too. But you just don't know it because you've been conditioned to not understand that this machismo rap that you've been listening to for however long you've been listening to is actually doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it's actually doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and last thing, 'cause we've already said this, but if you are so on that page in life, you are really in the wrong section at a Sexy Red part of the show. And so if you want to be Mr. Woke, Mr. Conscious, Mr. Aware, the fuck are you doing there? That's the last show you will, as soon as you hear her name coming up next, as soon as you see her name on a flyer, you're going to stage B and you're leaving her ass. So, bro, go somewhere. Go, get out of here.
Yeah. That's not gonna fly over here. We don't believe you. You need more people for real, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's just ridiculous. But yeah, it's very vogue and chic to give a woke take on social media. And so you can always get people on your side, and these female rappers are
retweet,
give a woke take. Give a woke take. We do it in sports, music, movies. We do it everywhere. Just give a woke take, even if you know that it's buffoonery. So.
Oh yeah. By the way, we want to start calling it re-Xing or exit, because I don't know what they're gonna call tweets now. X messages or something. So,
whatever, or just hop off of that and just jump on Threads. Apparently, people are going on. I don't keep up with this crap anymore. This is why we need our own show with a social media team who can just handle this BS for us, so that we don't have to learn how to navigate this crap. I just want to be the talent. I don't need to be the social media wizard. Let people who actually get off on this stuff figure that out.
Yeah, we need some interns. So because we ain't paying them. So anybody that's got what do you call that, broadcasting communications majors, go ahead and send in your resumes, and so we can work your ass for free.
Oh man. Oh, shouts out to Sexy Red, man. Pound Town. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she has plenty of dudes in her phone who are willing to be a new daddy to her baby, as she says.
Hey, man, they love it. They love it.
Yeah, they do love it. But that's gonna do it for another edition to the Constant Approach channel on YouTube. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. That is Dogon SS. My name is JV Wins. Catch Constant Approach on Instagram at ConApproach. ConApproach. We also upload all the videos to the Facebook page, so check out Constant Approach. If you happen to be catching this video over there on that side, go ahead and like the page and follow the page. We certainly appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Be on the lookout for bigger and better things coming on the Constant Approach front in the very near future. But until then, subscribe to us. Hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think about our videos, and we will certainly catch you on the next video.
And the name is Dogon SS, and you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS and Hurricane Dogon. And as I say on every part, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
That's right, baby. Stay out of Pound Town. Stay out of Pound Town. You know,
hey,
or go in. But don't complain.
I'm about to say, bro, I don't know about you, but I'm about to send a text right now. What are you talking about?
Oh man. Well, until next time, we'll catch y'all later. Another Constant Pros video in the books. We signing off. Peace.
Peace. Go Dolphins.
Go
It's
Heat, baby.
football.
Go Heat, baby.
And go Dolphins.
True.